Everybody Hates Rand is a Wheel of Time podcast that will contain spoilers for all 14 books. So if you're anti-spoiler, pause this, read all 14 books, and come back. We'll be here, waiting.
Our title is a joke and is meant to be taken as such. In the context of this podcast, everybody refers to us and our cat. You are free to feel however you want about Rand, who is a fictional character. Don't DM us.
The world is a mess, Dark One stretching out his hand. The dragon's reborn, the fire's been fanned, but everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand.
Anyway, guess this house is on a really big anime kick.
Yeah. If I ended up deleting that, we did just talk for about 10 minutes about, like a clickbait article, top 5 sexiest anime men.
Listen.
And we did some self-discovery in that time, so, yeah, that was that. On to Lord of Chaos.
This is Everybody Hates Rand, your friendly neighborhood Wheel of Time podcast. I'm Sally Goodger.
I'm Emily Jusha.
Here we are.
We're recording pretty late at night, so the energy's a little whack. These are actually two pretty, short, easy-breezy chapters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not easy-breezy in that the content was bad. I mean, good. We are dealing with the aftermath of Rand being magically raped.
Yeah.
But, there's, quite a bit less, I think, to talk about.
Yeah. I also just think any chapter that comes to us through Varen's point of view is a little easier on the soul, you know? I think she's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I know we get Rand there a little bit at the end.
I think Varen just tends to be one of those, narrators who mediates really with, very little bias.
Mm-hmm.
If that is making sense. Like, with Rand, we have to sort of dig through his misogyny and all his mental illnesses to get what, is actually going on.
Yeah.
With Matt, we have to deal with all his, side commentary and talking to himself, and while that can be entertaining in and of itself.
Yeah, it does make following what's going on a little difficult sometimes.
Yeah, Varen is just, pretty straight with what is going on.
She's just sort of, cut to the feeling, you know?
And she tends to be less, up in Aes Sedai politics than other Aes Sedai, which makes her a lot more bearable.
Yeah.
But yeah, we pick up right where the last chapter left off, right after Rand has left the inn. All the Two Rivers girls and all of the maids are in various states of hysteria, and Varen is just sort of going around trying to get everyone.
She's patting young women on the head.
Patting them. She tells one of the maids, she's like, go make everyone some tea and just put a shit ton of brandy in it.
And I'm like, some of these girls are 14.
Fantasyland, baby, everyone's drinking alcohol.
Yes, brandy on the Binky, I guess.
Ew.
Or whiskey on the Binky, I think.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, I guess probably in the 40s or 50s, which was a time in America.
Yeah.
They would dip the baby's Binky in whiskey and it would make them go to sleep.
Well, I mean, it would make them go to sleep, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing, if your baby wouldn't sleep, you'd dip their baby, or put a little bit of whiskey on their lip or something.
God.
Maybe this is just a southern thing,
No,
or
my
family thing.
I've heard about that. It's just sort of vibes with how the state of medicine for a long time was just opium.
Yeah.
Because, it has a noticeable effect.
Yeah.
That, or they were does it make you poop, or does it make you puke? That's medicine. Because it's doing something.
It's purging your humors.
It's doing something visible that we can see. So
anyway, I'm surprised humanity is alive. I'm surprised all these girls survived Varen just giving them buckets full of brandy, but they seem to be fine.
They're all oh my god, we have to leave. We have to get out of here. Matt's sister's we have to find Matt.
Yeah.
And one girl is I want to see Caemlyn.
Yeah,
it's very chaotic. And Varen's just oh my god. Finally, Alana is snaps, does her whole Gandalf trick of appearing bigger. than she is, and is like, everyone get into your rooms or I will literally kill you. And Varen's like, what a great way to handle children.
And Varen's like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah, and Alana's just like, meh, meh, meh. So all the girls run away, and Varen's like, why don't we talk in private? And Alana's like, fine. They go back to their little private room. There kept being typos of Alana to Mana.
I know.
What was with that?
I don't know.
Is that just our copy
it might
of
have
Lord of
just
Chaos?
been like a weird thing, but I was so confused for so long because I was like, surely I'm going crazy.
I know. I just stared at it for
Chaos.
the. I was like, what? Who's Mana?
Yeah.
Mana?
It's like, what's happening?
Alana.
It was really wacky.
But they have a brief conversation, sort of sidestepping initially around the, actual question. But, Varen's like, okay, so it seems like there actually are rebel Aes Sedai. Apparently they had not known that. How would they, really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have been away from the White Tower.
They've been in the Two Rivers with Perrin.
Yeah, but similar to the way that last book, Nynaeve saw a signal in an Aes Sedai agent's window, and that was how they found out that the tower had been broken. I guess here in Caemlyn, or somewhere along the road, Alana saw something similar, and so they've received this message that, like, everyone should return to the White Tower, and if you do, then everything will be forgiven. And they're like, what the shit does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, what are we gonna do? And Alana's like, well...
Is he playing with the doorstop again?
Oh, he got into my trash can.
Listen, our cat is a monster.
Get out.
He's a demon straight from hell. All he wants is the trash in Emily's trash can for reasons no one can comprehend. Like, Tybalt has seen garbage cans before, but
Here's
this...
what happened. Pretty much every morning, and this might disgust some of you, but I eat a little snack pack of Pringles and a granola bar, and that's my breakfast, and it's just because, like, that's what I can eat in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot handle heavier food.
Fair.
And Tybalt, one time, I think I, like, dropped a Pringles from, and he got a taste of it, and has been enchanted ever since by the idea of Pringles. So my little waste paper basket under my desk is just, like, granola bar wrappers and Pringles, empty Pringles containers, and, some paper and tissues. And I think Tybalt is just obsessed with getting into those Pringles.
He's like, there will be a small chip in here for Tybalt.
Yeah, and I mean, there will be Tybalt, because crumbs, but Tybalt, you can't eat that stuff.
Yeah, Tybalt literally has the most delicate constitution. Emily's adorable mother bought him an advent calendar that from Trader Joe's that has like a few little cat treats in it every day that's supposed to like count down to Christmas, and they're like seaweed, salmon, cat treats or whatever. We gave them to Tybalt for 2 days and they made him vomit because they weren't the treats he was used to. Whenever we try and give him wet food, he has violent diarrhea. So he's got a very, very delicate constitution. He can eat only very few things, and yet every time there is a Pringle.
He just desires the Pringle. Give me the Pringle.
It's like Gollum.
My Pringle.
Okay, this episode is so cursed.
Okay, so, Varen and Alana are like, what the fuck are we gonna do about this whole situation? Alana's like, I can't believe that he's locked us. He's telling us he's limiting our movements or whatever. And Varen's like, well, we can probably get past that. Unspoken, though, is the idea that they could get out of Caemlyn, but that would mean ditching all of the Two Rivers girls, who Varen basically considers, like, a cash cow in that they're just, like, so fucking powerful, and there are so many of them. She's like, this will fucking double the tower's novice count, because that's how few people are coming to learn to channel these days. Finally, though, Varen is like, so what the fuck were you doing? Bonding him like that. And Alana replies that it was the irrational thing to do, and that someone should have bonded all three of the Theodrin boys, long ago. Her idea, I mean, the the language she uses is just, like, indicative of the fact, and this has always been subtext, but here it is made more explicit that the warder bond can act as a leash.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Alana has frequently been one of the most aggressive ones about it, and Varen brings that up, that Alana was kind of aggressive about wanting to bond Perrin in the Two Rivers, and the only reason she didn't was basically because Fael was like, I will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, good for Fael, I guess.
Yeah.
Saving her husband from that fate. Tibble.
What if you came and sat with us?
So it's like, Alana is like, okay, I'm through implying that I'm about to bond someone as my warder. I'm just going to surprise attack them with the bond.
Yeah. Healthy.
Also is the idea that Alana recently lost one of her warders, and so now she is emotionally distraught. This is not great because it allows this book, I guess, to make an argument that women, this is like a common argument, especially in the sphere of politics and whether women should have power, that idea.
Yeah.
That women are more emotional and more unstable than men are, which is an old idea going back to BC, essentially. And so it's no particular surprise that Robert Jordan fell victim to this little brand of misogyny, because anytime he caught a whiff of it from any sort of historical or literary inspiration, he was like, I'll just pepper that in to my story. So Alana is very emotional. She is, as far as I really remember, the only Aes Sedai to ever really go through this on screen for us. Actually, that's not true, because both Swan and Leanne lost their warders.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just sort of skimmed right over in the wake of their also being stilled.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that, like, I mean, trauma responses are very differently, but if this is how Alana is reacting to the loss of a warder, then we would expect Swan and Leanne to similarly be, or have been, very, more visibly upset.
Yeah, Swan mentions it in passing like 2 times.
I don't even know Swan's warder's name.
I don't know his name.
He's never brought up again.
Leanne's warder's name. And like Varen mentions here, she's like, I lost one warder and it took me 10 years to bond a new one. Like,
yeah.
It's a big deal, and so it's very frustrating and troubling that it's like put on Alana in this instance to like justify the texts. Rand can't trust Aes Sedai, women shouldn't have power, the White Tower shouldn't be a thing.
The whole
adds to that
the
whole
whole
bag.
Aes Sedai react poorly to their warder's death thing is used as a plot point here, and in A Memory of Light, spoiler alert, when Gawain kicks the bucket, Edwin goes a little bit crazy too, and just sort of, dies a martyr because she's like, I have nothing left to live for without the warder. Essentially, that's, simplifying it a little bit. It is also the apocalyptic last battle.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on. But it is, putting a lot of... It's just very indicative that when warders lose their Aes Sedai, they go into a suicidal battle rage, which is, very masculine.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when Aes Sedai lose their warders, they just become weepy and unstable, which is just like...
Yeah, it's just the hysteria.
Alana's a little bit hysterical here. Just doing shit that doesn't make sense. Varen does not pass a lot of judgment on Alana, which is a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Varen isn't like, well, that was fucking stupid and you should not have done it. She is more focused on the idea that, like, Alana is so upset and sort of aware that she may have just fucked up, that it is now making Alana more willing to go along with whatever Varen wants them to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just sort of reverting back to all Aes Sedai care about is power dynamics.
Yeah.
There's not really much to say about that other than that it's all bad.
Yeah, it's just very frustrating. It does make you wonder what type of man is like, I'm going to be a warder.
Yeah.
Varen talks about her warder, Tomas, whatever his name is, seems just like a lovely dude. Baron's like, go cheer up the innkeeper, so he starts drinking with the innkeeper.
Yeah.
Seems like a very nice and reasonable guy. And it's like, what happened in your life that led you to being like, sure, this woman can bond me as her leashed bodyguard?
Yeah, we get very few, like, actual warder perspectives. The only one really is Lan's.
And he doesn't count.
And Lan is, you know, sort of on the far end of the spectrum in terms of, he's like the distillation of everything that is bad and terrible about the warder bond.
Yeah.
He's already semi-suicidal. He, you know, is really obsessed with honor and with violence-based honor. So yeah, we get very few just like normal dudes.
Yeah.
Or at least we don't get to see inside their heads. A lot of the warders who we see just seem like normal guys.
Yeah. Just are like, this is my Aes Sedai lady. I don't know. It's just a very odd system. Sometimes, like, it's one of those things, like, a fish can't see the water it's swimming in. When you read Wheel of Time for long enough, it's like, yeah, Aes Sedai and their warders. And sometimes it'll just, like, go under the radar. Having a hard time tonight. But other times that'll be like, this is so weird. This is such an odd system.
Yeah, how did they come to this?
Like, where did they meet these men? What's going on? I don't know.
Rand, meanwhile, leaves the inn on his horse at a gallop and immediately outpaces everyone else.
All 97,000 of his bodyguards.
His honor guard of 1 million people just left behind in the dust. So he gets back to the royal palace and pretty quickly travels, not to the Black Tower directly, but the, like, woods outside the Black Tower. We don't even know where he's gone initially. Yeah. He's very, in his head and upset, and, he talks about how he can feel Alana, like, inside him, which is upsetting, and his need to create distance between them. And I feel like I might be... It's a pretty, like, textbook, I would say, example of a, you know, trauma response in fantasy. It is there very blatantly, and it is pretty quickly pushed out of the way for the plot, which is not necessarily a bad thing because books have to be paced and move forward, especially if their primary objective is not to discuss trauma. But in a book series like Wheel of Time, when we aren't allowed to linger on it or go back to it in really any meaningful capacity, then it sort of gets buried under everything else.
Yeah.
So, like, the fact that Rand has just been bonded as a warder against his will is sort of secondary to the fact that he's at the Black Tower and Mazrim is teaching guys how to blow up rocks, you know?
Yeah.
Which is great. Like, Rand walks in on this lesson and is like, don't worry, the only guys who actually, you know, stayed, who actually passed Mazrim test to channel and stayed are the ones that I named last time, of course. And a couple of other guys, unnamed, who Tem has since accumulated. There's like 7 of them total. And, they're all just sitting there learning how to blow up rocks with the power, very rudimentary. And, like, if they don't remember to put a shield in front of themselves, then they could, you know, get blown up, get their faces blown up.
Yeah, Flynn gets, like, hit with a rock shard and, like, cuts his face.
And Tem's just like, that's how they're gonna learn. And... Tem makes this argument that's like, I need to be allowed to start going out further and recruiting, because as it is, they're getting men who can channel, and they're like going out, I don't know, every few days, but it's just like 4 or 5 dudes at a time, and most of them won't be able to channel.
Yeah.
And Rand's like, okay, well, how would you do it? And Tem lays out this like elaborate plan where he'll go to, it's all about... For Tem, it's all about getting some guys to come with him to the Black Tower before they realize what they have signed up for.
Yeah, it's kidnapping.
He's like, I just intend to, like, fully con a bunch of dudes into following me to a second location.
Yeah. Not getting me to no second location.
And once they're there, then I will, spring it on them that they're actually going to be channeling.
And then if they can't channel, I'll just send them to Caemlyn as part of your army.
Yeah, so,
are these men... Just Mazrim Taim doesn't believe in the value of human life, but we knew that.
I mean, obviously. And he's like, you have to do this because you have to increase your numbers, because at any moment, you have no idea whether Bashir's men will stay loyal to you. He also says something about the quote-unquote so-called ale, which is another Robert Jordan indicator that, this is actually Demandrid. Why would Mazrim Taim call them the so-called ale?
Yeah.
It's Demandrid who has preconceptions of what the ale are.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's not Demandrid, so that's just sort of a whack thing for him to say.
Yeah. It's like, what?
And Rand, doesn't pick up on it. But Rand finally is like, okay, yeah, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
You have the okay to kidnap men en masse.
In my name.
In my name. Because Tim's like, I will match the White Tower within a year. And Rand's like, I mean, that sounds pretty good. And I'm like, at what cost, Rand?
Just gonna go kidnap some boys?
Boys being kidnapped. So many boys. CSI Caemlyn.
Yeah.
Where are the missing boys? Mazrim Taim has them.
Mazrim Taim has all the missing boys.
In his boarding school from hell.
Yeah, seriously. He's like, people have to do all their chores with the power, and if they can't eat their food, they eat cold, and, like...
Hogwarts School for Witchcraft and War Crimes.
Yeah.
This is what he's doing.
Correct.
We then hop over to Nynaeve and Elaine. I mean, Nynaeve, primarily. We have another sort of useless day of Nynaeve walking around. We find out that the Hall of the Tower, the important Aes Sedai, have been meeting with this embassy from the White Tower, Tarnafir, or Fair.
Tarnafir.
Tarnafir?
A Tarnafir.
Tarnation? What in Tarnation?
What in Tarnation?
And so far no one knows what the result of this meeting will be, whether the sitters will just be like, well, yeah, I might as well go back to the tower, crisis averted.
Yeah.
And of course Nynaeve and Elaine are not thrilled by that concept and are trying to eavesdrop, so far unsuccessfully, using weaves that Mogadeen is teaching them. Elaine leaves to go do her many duties, leaving Nynaeve alone with Mogadeen, but Nynaeve is not wearing the bracelet, a Dawn bracelet, so Mogadeen is like, I will just take this opportunity to remind you that I do not have Stockholm Syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate you,
Mm-hmm.
and literally the second I can, I am going to stab you in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And Nynaeve's like, ooh, I don't like this, and leaves the room, and it's like, Nynaeve, you fucking nitwit.
Well, then maybe you don't, enslave people.
Yeah, like,
your actions have consequences.
she's like, I thought she was, cowed. And I'm like, she's the Forsaken?
Yeah, it's like... Also, why would you want that? Why? It just is such a... This whole thing is so frustrating. Where the girls are like, we are going to psychologically and physically torture this person and get really upset when they are not tortured into submission.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a good look, ladies. It's actually a really bad look. I know I keep harping on this book's propagation of war crimes.
Is
and
torturing
crimes
people
against...
bad if those people are bad? Yes.
Let's just get that on the table. Yes.
We've said it before.
Human rights violations are bad. Full stop.
But Mogadeen is like, you guys should go to Caemlyn. Like, who fucking knows what's going on here, and you guys aren't getting anything done. I mean,
She's right.
and she is 100% right, but Mogadeen also, no doubt, believes that she will have more opportunities to escape once they are out of Salidar, which is also true. But Nynaeve, of course, has already been thinking about leaving, so as soon as she departs, she goes and finds Birgitte, who is just sort of watching some little boys play with rocks.
Yeah.
In the way that little boys do.
They're just like, punching
like
each other with
rocks. We love rocks. We're boys and we love rocks.
They're very charming.
Yeah. It's not just like rocks, it's like they have a bag that they filled with rocks to throw at each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, you couldn't find a less harmful
No, man, that
thing
tracks.
to play dodgeball with.
Little boys, little or big, love throwing shit at each other.
True, yeah. It's like how whenever we're playing Minecraft and we go to a snowy area, Devin will find snowballs and throw them at me. It's like some sort of instinct that's triggered.
Literally every winter. My brother Ian is 31 and I'm 25. Yeah. Every winter of my life, I will walk outside and Ian will just be there. He'll have returned from something, and then he'll just be like, I have to throw a snowball at Sally or I will die. And I'm like, Ian, we're adults.
You don't have to throw things.
It's like he will literally die.
Just love throwing things.
Boys just love
to throw rocks. We do get an exciting update on Mogadion's kidnapped fake children. That they are doing well.
They're healing.
Which is good to know. Although Naeem is like, okay, but the problem with them getting better is that now they might tell some people that, that's not my mom.
Yeah.
You're not my dad.
Boogie, woogie, woogie.
I've told you about Ann and Adam's, have I not told you about this? I yell this all the time. Pepper to the eyes, yell no. Everyone, most people had like a DARE program.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in the American school system. You, had some, fake police officers show up and be like, don't do drugs, kids. Sign this pledge that you'll never do drugs.
Yeah, and the mascot was a lion for some reason.
I don't know, but that was phased out around the time I was in elementary school. And slowly, after I left elementary school, that was, what replaced it was this program that was meant to teach kids self-defense. And I don't remember if there was an acronym or anything, but it was literally they taught kids self-defense moves. And you had a little graduation ceremony where you just fought a man.
What the shit? What the shit? I am only a year younger than you in school, and I did DARE.
It was my,
Utah County was
by school district based thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I didn't do DARE that I remember. I do remember that Sarah did, because she had a shirt. No one ever told me not to do drugs.
Everyone's like, this kid's definitely gonna
Look at
do
me
drugs.
now. I mean, a big facet of my personality is making people think that I'm high accidentally.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Like the fraud analyst, that time I bought, a snow cone machine and an Xbox and a vibrator.
And they're like, this can't be right.
Someone just smoked a whole lot of weed. No, so Ann and Adam my younger brother and sister, did this whole program about where they would learn self-defense moves, but of course, the part of the lessons were you also have to be yelling things to get attention and get help. So Adam would just suddenly yell, "You're not my dad!" and attack one of us. And they had this whole thing that was pepper to the eyes, yell, no.
What is happening?
It was wild.
The Jusha family, guys, I cannot stress this enough. The Jusha family is so inherently chaotic in the way that they interact with each other. Just wild beasts. Constantly just attacking each other and yelling things. And their mom is always everyone has to bet on something. And I'm what? I don't know what's happening.
My mom's a gambling addict and she attacks people. She'll sit on us if we don't move fast enough. Anne's usually peeing her pants.
Yeah, there's also that.
Sarah's usually crying.
Yeah.
Adam's just sort of wrestling on the ground.
Yeah, they're always fighting. Emily's dad is always just confused in the distance.
My dad is always, eating something.
Yeah, with his glasses on the end of his nose. Yeah. Anyway, I love them dearly. They're just,
we're
so
lot,
chaotic.
We're, a lot to handle.
That wasn't to say that
together.
I don't love your family. I just,
It's just one of those weird things where I don't... my family has a very specific language.
Yeah.
That is a lot for
No, I get
other
that.
people.
My family does too. It's usually biker mice from Mars.
Yeah, I experienced that one time when I was in the car with Sally and her brothers on the way to the Binky live show. And they just start talking about biker mice from Mars, and I'm like, what the fuck? So you're telling me this isn't a Sally-specific thing? I was so angry.
So anyway, families are fun, right, guys?
Okay. Anyway, and then he was like, Brigitte, maybe we should go to Caemlyn. And Brigitte's like, I mean, yeah, I can get Uno in on that. We can be ready to go in a couple of days. And Nynaeve's like, I don't want to take Uno. And Brigitte's like, why?
Yeah.
He's like, it would be a lot fucking easier. And Nynaeve's like, we don't need men to protect us. And Brigitte's like, we don't need them, but it'll make things a shit ton easier.
Yeah.
You want to be, like, fighting people every other day?
Yeah.
If we just have dudes around, we're gonna avoid that.
Yeah, she's like, if we have 12 Shi'Naran soldiers armed to the teeth, nobody's gonna bother us.
And then he was like, Bridget's like, if you and Elaine both agree on it, then get Elaine to tell me that, and then, yeah, maybe I'll leave Uno out. Knowing, of course, that Nynaeve is just saying this, that Elaine doesn't know.
Yeah.
It's just weird posturing bullshit.
Yeah.
We're reintroduced to, Rhaenyra, who is now Bridgette's hanger-on, is mimicking her in a lot of ways. Nynaeve's like, she seems really jealous whenever Brigitte interacts with anyone else, because, I don't know, it's like she's never heard of having more than one friend, and I'm like, she's a lesbian.
Yeah.
It's fine, she has a crush on Brigitte. Moving on. We're also reintroduced to Nicola, and the fact that she can channel quite a bit. Apparently, she's, a tier below our main three girls, but still much higher than
Most, yeah.
most other novices. And both of these women were not pleased to find out that Nynaeve and Elaine were not actually Aes Sedai, and resent them quite a bit now, which, lends itself to, just more sort of hateful dynamics between Nynaeve and Elaine and literally everyone they meet.
Yeah.
It would be nice if Nynaeve and Elaine had a support system.
Yeah, friends,
but instead they're just like, everyone we meet hates us. And I'm like, well, I mean, you were very condescending to these women when they were refugees on the foundation of a lie that you were Aes Sedai. So, yeah, no wonder they are like, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you for lying to me and being a huge asshole.
And now treating the other woman that we arrived with, who they don't know is one of the Forsaken.
Yeah.
They're just like, Merrigan is just their servant now?
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Yeah, I would also be like, fuck these people.
Yeah,
right?
so Aurelia and Nicola are annoying characters, but their behavior toward Nynaeve and Elaine is pretty justified.
Yeah.
But Nicola arrives and is like, you need to go take notes for these two Aes Sedai. So Nynaeve goes off to them, only to find out that they don't actually want her to take notes, they just want to interrogate her about Rand. Which Nynaeve puts up with for as long as they have questions for her, but, it's pretty unproductive. It's just like, this is Nynaeve's whole day, is just being bombarded by questions about Rand.
Yeah.
I would never want to see Rand again if I were Nynaeve. It's remarkable that she could still stand him after this.
I mean, it's remarkable anyone can stand him.
It was remarkable that she would stand him before this, but especially after this.
A mother's love.
A mother's love. Yeah, there's no, indication. I mean, obviously, Nynaeve is probably withholding some information, but she is being pretty, honest and clear about what Rand was like as a child, because she knows, of course, that Rand as a child doesn't matter, really.
Yeah.
And that Rand has changed a lot, but, she's not being like, well, and he's in love with Elaine, and, la-da-da-da-da. So, she's withholding some information, but that is not, part of the text in a major way. We're never, concerned that she's going to slip up and reveal something.
Yeah.
Which sort of eliminates any tension that there might have been.
Yeah, it's just one of these, setting the stage for the Aes Sedai fighting over Rand at the end of this book.
Mm-hmm.
Or the whole series, I guess.
Anyway, Nynaeve then has an appointment with Theodrin, which she goes to keep, but on the way she passes, the main building where everyone is still meeting with this ambassador lady, and she just sort of goes and physically eavesdrops, which she is really scared to do because, of course, if any Aes Sedai finds her, she will get, like, murdered.
Yeah.
But all she overhears the significant parts, because that's always what happens when characters in fantasy eavesdrop. But she basically overhears that the message that this woman is being sent back to the White Tower with is that we need more time to think about it. Which, like, yeah, that's about as non-committal as you can get. And then when that woman's gone, she overhears the 6 women once again referring to how they need to get her, and they need to have her in place so that they can manipulate her. Otherwise, they're going to have to leave everything to the tower. And Nynaeve's just like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
It's Egg.
It's Eggy!
Eggy! But Nynaeve then gets up from physically eavesdropping, like kneeling next to a window, and was like, oh, hi, Theodrin.
Yeah, Theodrin's just standing there.
Theodrin's like, I don't know what Theodrin was doing there.
Creeping.
Came looking for Nynaeve, I guess.
Yeah,
Theodrin's
Nynaeve
just like,
at this point is like 2 hours late.
Yeah.
So.
Theodrin's just like, well, let's go.
Yeah.
Theodrin's such a real one.
I know. Theodrin just is like, I'm gonna stay in my lane.
This is my lane. I don't give a shit what happens outside of it.
Yeah.
Nynaeve and Elaine being total psychos.
Not
Whatever.
my problem.
If it doesn't have to do with Nynaeve's block, then who gives a fuck?
Yeah. She's like, I've been given an assignment. I will complete it.
Yep, she's great.
Anyway.
Real one.
It's like that post about Noah and the Raven Cycle.
Yeah, he's great. He's king
of
of staying in his lane.
Anyway, what a good character.
I love characters like that. So anyway, that was those 2 chapters.
Yeah. Oh, and at the end of the chapter, it's like neither Nynaeve nor Theodrin saw the woman in the window watching.
Oh yeah. And I was like, who? I don't fucking know.
I don't know either.
Karna, maybe? I don't remember. We're mostly going to be stuck with the girls for the next few chapters, although Egg, I think, gets thrown into the mix there, but, you know, it's essentially just Nynaeve and Elaine being stuck in Salidar and doing nothing.
It's a great use of page space.
It's a great use of page space. I mean, it's sad that Nynaeve is this frustrated and feels this lonely and afraid, but it's also like, you're sort of in this situation because you chose to be in this situation.
Yeah.
It's hard to feel a lot of sympathy for her when she was given lots of outs, and is still being given a lot of outs, and is just like, no. And, like, it's made more complicated by the fact that they are enslaving a person, which, again, hard to be on their side for that.
Yeah. It's like, I'm sorry that you're feeling a little depressed, but, you're a slaver, so... I can't really feel anything but disdain for you at the moment.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Ow.
Sorry.
It's just my knees popping.
My knees.
Yeah, like I'm 97.
Um,
I'm basically 97.
so that's that. Do you have anything else?
No.
Cool. It's like 9 p.m. I have to go play with Tibble now.
I gotta go play with Tibble.
Thank you for listening. Thank you to Glenna McKenzie for our theme song. Check us out on social media or on Patreon. You now have 2.5 years worth of Wheel of Time blogs to catch up on if you want to do that. I don't know that I recommend it entirely, but if you want to watch a person descend into madness in real time, then yeah, that's an option for you. Along with a lot of other really more fun content, such as our secondary podcast, We Don't Watch Outlander, where we are covering one of our favorite books, Finnegan of the Rock, and our In an Hour or Less series, where we just sort of cover a literary or historical topic once a month in a video. And that's it. Do you have a sign-off?
Yeah. So it's the holiday season. I've been buying Christmas presents for people.
Yes.
And my friend Nathan's Christmas present that I'm going to give him came in, and included in the packaging was just like a slip of paper that had about 8 Bible verses on it. just had like 8 different Bible verses that were like like salvation can only be found through Jesus and John 3:16 and stuff like that. But I was just like, what is happening? Super random.
What did you get him that...
I mean, I can't be totally sure.
Listen, yeah.
I don't know if Nathan listens to this, but there's it's like a joke gift. Like, it's a dumb, silly thing. It's not there's a possibility that they're like, this person is doing some sort of weird Satan thing.
Yeah.
And so they are like, we'll put a little Jesus in there.
To cancel it out.
Yeah, to just cancel it out. But I opened it and I was just crying. I was like, this is the funniest thing that's ever happened. And I was like, Nathan, I'm no longer giving you this present. I'm just giving you these Bible verses. And he was like, no.
That's so good.
It's so weird. Yeah.
Imagine being, some Etsy seller.
Yeah.
Just I'm just gonna sprinkle in some Bible.
I'm just gonna give him a little Jesus.
Okay, thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Have a good week, day,
life.
Goodbye.